We do what we must.
Heya, and the teams playing today are Southampton Clap Crew and the Winchester Omegas.
I must not fall.
We've just entered pick and ban phase, and so far we're seeing a somewhat unconventional set of bans. With Winchester, banning Twitch and Janna, while Southampton has banned Lee Sin and Leona.
I do not tolerate cowardice.
And I mean, in general, all of Southampton's bans so far have been somewhat off the standard meta bans and hopefully targeted at the opponent's champion pools. Whilst Winchester has been banning quite a standard set of the AD carries and supports, which have been strong recently. No, from what I know, Elise is still reasonably strong, although very much an early game focused jungler. You need to get your first couple of ganks working because she doesn't scale as nicely into the late game. Although talking of early game junglers, we have Jarvan the Fourth on the other side, who's I would expect it to be jungle, but yes, most definitely it could go top. He has wonderful, wonderful tools for ganking and some ability late game to force and engage. Although he does most definitely tail off compared with plenty of the other tank junglers available. We're seeing Thresh and Jinx. Thresh has always been a popular pick. Always. And most importantly of all, allows you to make mad outplays on your opponent. Though you do have a little more safety with him than the comparative Blitz, where you can miss your hook and still do something, while Blitz, it really is all or nothing. Yes. Jinx Xayah is an interesting AD carry matchup. Xayah, as far as I know, is more popular at the moment generally. Although Jinx, I think late game in team fights will be perfectly able to match or even beat her in damage. The rockets outranging her.
I'll come back stronger.
That's amazing, honey.
Wow. Okay, guys, so just realised my mic's been off the entire time. Do you reckon we could just do this again in the loading screen, get rid of it all completely?
Hey, go on.
I should have specified this is the National University Esports League, Week 4 of League of Legends for the Wales and Southwest England.
Seriously?
Yep. He did specify before, just kind of missed the whole having a mic on part.
Yeah, I think that Rakan summed it up perfectly going, seriously? Wow, that's embarrassing.
Was this in chat to you, or?
No, just when they banned Rakan. Just now. And this thing was seriously?
I cannot see the chat, this is sad.
Well, no, can you not hear the little overlays as they pick people?
No, I've got game sound turned off because I like hearing music.
Damn, this was so good.
Braum, my favourite support, having played him only once in Common S Plus, never played him again, so I can only maintain my perfect record. He's very strong against any kind of projectile CC, so I
imagine he's there to tank those thresh hooks and possibly the...
Against Thresh, he's got a huge amount of use, but also against Elise,
yes,
we can very potentially see a lot of use.
You mentioned Xayah a minute ago. I just want to go back to that. I think the great thing about Xayah, especially in the late game teamfights, is her ultimate providing that little bit of safety as long as you can get it, compared to Jinx, who, if you catch her, is going to die.
Yes, although in general, both of these AD carries do have lower mobility than you might otherwise see. We didn't see Tristana picked up because she was banned. We didn't see Caitlyn or any of the other AD carries which do have a bit more mobility. We've just seen a lot of damage.
Yes, of course, there's Sivir, who is always a safe pick, and obviously her on the hunt, her ultimate gives you that movement speed, so she's always one to fall back on.
She's very maneuverable, but the low range can always bite her a little bit. Mid lane, we're seeing Galio versus LeBlanc. Now, this, I think, should come down a lot to LeBlanc setting the tone, but Galio setting the tone of all the other lanes.
Yes, agreed. I think LeBlanc will most likely have the early game, although she won't have much kill pressure on the Galio, but she will be pushing him off the farm, I would expect.
Hopefully. And in the top lane, we see a similar thing, but the other way, of Jax against Cho'Gath. Now, Jax wants to sit in lane and take towers and then take inhibitors and then hopefully a Nexus. While Cho'Gath is far more teamfight orientated.
Yeah, and he's also going to want to make those roams because he's going to want to get the Drakes with his ultimate. He's going to want to get the Rift Herald and the Barons because obviously they're so secure for him, and it builds up the stacks above the 6 stack limit.
Although nicely for both of them are very, interestingly, both of them are very happy to sit tight in the early game.
Yes, although Jax, of course, is one of those champions where if he gets ahead, he will stay ahead, and he can very easily snowball. Well,
it becomes a little bit more difficult against Cho'Gath's normal weakness, as we all know, is against any hard ranged poke. He can sustain very well if he's allowed to even get near the wave to last hit. So Jax's complete lack of range does give Cho'Gath some safety in that regard if he ever needs to just sit under turret.
Yes, I agree in that respect. Although I don't expect either of these two to have much kill pressure on each other, but of course, you never know.
The Galio can enable Jax to do dives.
Yes.
Galio can enable everything.
I think the red teams, this is the SU Clap Crew, very much have a kind of team fight comp with the Cho'Gath, the Xayah with her ultimate, the Braum, the Jarvan, and they're going to want this LeBlanc to then come in for the flanks and pick off this Jinx. Whereas the Winchester Omega, they've got this kind of pick comp. They want to land the Thresh hooks, they want to land the Elise cocoons, and then they want to follow this up with a Galio taunt or a Jax stun, and then layer that again with Jinx and with her traps and just bombard one person.
I feel the Winchester University's comp looks, I'll be honest, a little more difficult to play, although it's very much potentially stronger if they can play it. Jax will want to be separate from the team, and Galio could very well make use of his semi-global ability on his ultimate.
Yes, if this
so they could play a 1-3-1 and attempt to split Southampton completely.
Agreed. If this Jax does get even a slight bit ahead to a point where the Cho'Gath can't risk fighting him, especially with the risk of this Galio coming in, then he can pressure these side lanes so much, and they can split apart this hoped team fight comp from SU Clap Crew.
And we all know the sound of Jax hitting turrets. He gets through those things fast if he's left alone.
Yes, definitely. Especially depending on build. We'll see what he'll take. It'll be interesting to see.
As a quick introduction on people who may not know these teams, which how could you not know these titans of the League of Legends world? These two teams are playing in the Southwest Regional NUEL tournament, and on equal points, so this should be quite a close game. Of them, the average solo queue rank for the Winchester team is probably slightly higher than that at Southampton, but not enough. Nothing like enough to overtake superior team play, depending who has it.
Yes, it will definitely be a very interesting game to watch. They do seem quite evenly matched.
Yeah. Around mid to upper gold, generally. And I'd love to say this puts me above them, but no.
Hey, we could have been, spectating some diamond people who would, who'd just like turn around and get really annoyed with our commentary.
I mean, I've not yet told them that Yasuo is science, so. No, in my world of 3v3s, I'm just surprised that we've not seen Taric or Kane. Apparently those aren't the only picks in 5s. It's a confusing place.
Yes. Right, now loading onto the Rift.
Yeah.
Yes, and the SU Clap crew were nice enough to have loaded into the lobby in their order, so I didn't have to rearrange everything. So, minus points to Winchester Omega.
The caster bias we will attempt to curse them with.
Yes, of course.
I'm sure what we're saying will have a huge impact upon their two teams' abilities to play. Now, both teams have split off into a standard line of scrimmage opening, neither's taking a huge risk with any invades going on.
Yeah, they just want to keep that vision, make sure there are no invades going on. Just kind of checking what the other's doing, making sure they're not making any unusual plays.
Yes, although there's so far been... there's only been a little bit of vision placed at all, with Galio potentially having gained vision of the Jarvan. But there's no information for either side at all. So both sides should be in the dark about where the other team's starting at the moment. And as buffs spawn in, we've had a very safe early game.
Yeah, both teams, I think, they're happy to play safe. They don't want to be taking these risks. It's a best of one. Neither of them is in a position where they need to risk throwing the game in order to win the game.
Yeah.
So straight in the way ahead in the mid lane, and as I was saying, this LeBlanc is already putting pressure on this Galio.
Yeah.
I am Goon starting on the blue buff, getting help from his bot lane, which is a fairly standard start we see.
Yep. And then we look to bot lane, where, although less important than it has been over the past couple of patches, first level 2 will still hugely matter in determining lane pressure.
It's this top lane fight that we've been talking about for a while now. And it seems fairly even so far. Although Jax is ahead so far in farm and has been pushing the Cho'Gath away. So you can see this Cho is respecting his opponent.
Yes, the Jax playing very aggressively against the Cho.
Yes, but Cho has given as good as he's got, although he has now popped one of his pots, whereas this Jax still has all 3 of his corrupting potion. So he's going to be definitely out-sustained.
I don't know, Cho'Gath's passive does give him a lot of sustain if he's allowed to level up even a little bit.
Yes, well you've seen already.
And as the wave crashes into him and he catches up the standing farm. Oh, in mid lane we see nice job. Ooh. Whew, very close job in mid. And potentially a complete turnaround by Winchester. Passing over double buffs back over to the Elise, although First Blood went to...
Went to... Yes, LeBlanc. So they will, of course, have got that tiny bit of gold. However, it's possibly not worth giving up the 2 kills for.
Well, it absolutely financially isn't.
However, it is worth pointing out that neither team got anything significant out of that. It was just your early kills.
I wish money was this irrelevant in my real life.
Red side
Elise,
does seem to be
Elise only just now picking up her own red buff, having had a wonderful leash by the Jarvan for her first one. Him generously passing it over.
It looks like she was eyeing up bot lane because red lane has pushed in. Now that blue lane is pushed out again, though, she seems set to make a lane invade.
Yeah, going for the lane gank. At the moment, the team from Southampton is in general out farming their lane opponents, although the gank mid lane did not go in their favour.
Yes, it is worth pointing out, though, that in this early game, I think Xayah probably has the great...
Jarvan top lane has managed to pick up on the Jax and just managed to finish them off thanks to the Skirmisher Saber. Not the most common jungle item, but in this case most definitely worth him already picking up 300 gold he would not have got otherwise.
That's going to be great for the Cho'Gath, because we've already been seeing he's been struggling in this lane a little bit.
Yeah.
So getting that kill down onto the jungler is going to give them a lot of jungle presence now.
Yeah. And in this whole time the Elise has been was sat bot lane for 30 seconds or so waiting for lane gank to happen, which just didn't. The Jarvan's going mid lane. And a prediction by the Galio almost picks up the LeBlanc. That could have gone very different.
Extremely close. That could have backfired massively for them. And it's also worth pointing out that they did not get the kill, so they do not have this pressure that they have been hoping for.
Though LeBlanc was needing to go back anyway, and now when she gets back, Galio is going to have to give her an immense amount of respect.
Despite the kill, however, Jax has forced Cho off the farm again and lowered his health massively. However, Cho is up by 11 CS thanks to that gank. Jax now going on the Cho. And I'm Vanilla escapes with his flash and a tiny shred of health.
Yes. Although, also 1400 gold to spend. It is very likely that when he comes back to this lane, it's going to have a very different dynamic.
Yes, I personally think after that kill that Iron Goon helped him get, probably should have backed, because Jax did come back with that longsword and with that
and we're now
life item.
Yes, and we're now seeing that having not backed, he loses about half a wave to the turret.
Yes. Whereas, as we always talk about, you know, it doesn't matter how much gold you've got, it matters how much gold you've spent.
Yes. Elise top lane is waiting to try and pick up on Cho again. As he has built a small farm advantage.
When she lands the cocoon.
Lands the cocoon.
Very nicely layered with...
Yeah. Wonderful rupture from Cho'Gath. Yes. Keeps himself safe, knocking up both his opponents, although potentially they could have both stepped outside.
Mid lane again is having a fight. Looks like equal drag.
Trade in favour of LeBlanc.
Yes, it looks like she currently has the advantage there.
And in general, all of Southampton's lanes are currently in the lead, although most definitely, as we go into late game, Winchester can fight for it themselves.
Yes, that Jinx is going to be a monster in the late game. It is worth pointing out, though, that Southampton has currently got a 500 gold lead, and they've used that and the mid lane pressure that Equal Drag's just got to secure themselves an Infernal Drake, which I think they're going to be very happy with.
Yes. No Clown Drakes this time.
Elise is currently invading the red topside jungle, getting herself these raptors, getting them for the XP.
And a lot of Winchester's gold is on the Elise. She is, I think, the only member of their team flat ahead of her opponent, although the Jinx and Xayah are apart by about 17 gold. So yeah.
Oh, and we have a pause coming through.
Oh, okay, these things happen occasionally.
Unfortunately, we can't find out who is.
And hopefully we'll never need to know who's disconnected. But so far, Southampton has just been on an individual level a little bit ahead of Winchester.
Apparently, our stream is in fact black. Which is not what we were going for. Oh, but our audio has been fine.
Perfect.
Yes. definitely. I do not know why it is not showing through. Ah, there we go. Showing through now. See,
Stream testing of the highest quality.
Yes. This is why I need a second monitor.
I just want a second monitor.
This is, you know, the training wheels.
Yes. But so far we've seen quite a beatdown in the mid lane of the LeBlanc on the Galio.
Yes, that definitely seems to be where it's all going up. This is the definite fighting between them.
The top lane's seen its fair share of action.
That seems to be more gank focused as like the junglers and the top lanes. And we're back in the game.
Whilst mid lane has been more LeBlanc dominating the Galio, and then Elise covering for Galio to catch up in time.
Yeah, it's been much more of a solo fight.
Top lane. As top lane's island always is. And another gank again onto the top lane. Not sure Cho can save himself here.
Yes, and that is Cho going down, unfortunately. They are also very, very aware of where this J4 is, due to this blue ward put down by Elise during her
and a full invade going on into
and now there's all three of them
jungle.
going on. Jarvan senses it coming.
However,
Engaged on by the Galio, but he does get away.
The Galio burning as much as he could to try and get on.
Yes, that Justice Punch caught him very well, but unfortunately Goon just about gets out.
And having missed his taunt just beforehand,
yes, that could have
he didn't have that to follow it up. Because there's most definitely the follow-up CC there, if he got the chance.
Again, this mid laner's fighting out.
Although, fighting out gives a little more equivalence than I think is what's going on.
There, the
Galio, although very used to his team, has not so far been...
Gank coming in from Iron Goon, and he picks up the kill on the Galio, who was perhaps in lane when he shouldn't have been. Pushed up a bit too far.
The Elise was around to try and help protect. Wonderful turnaround by the Elise there.
Yes, that was almost Iron Goon going down, however, Equal Drags does pick up the kill.
Yes.
This is a rocket coming in from the Jinx, and Equal Drags tanks that up. Gets away with a slither of health.
And Jarvan not dead through Equal Drags, somewhat body blocking for them.
Yes, if that had, of course, gone on to Iron Goon, there's a very good chance that rocket would have killed him off.
Oh, it absolutely would have. So far in bot lane turret pressure, we see that neither side has really dealt any damage. It's been a nice farming lane for both of them. Both strong late game carries, scaling pretty equally towards their items.
Yes, I think the SU Clap Crew have definitely had the most pressure here, and that's showing in the additional farm. Xayah is only 5 CS up above the Jinx, however there is currently 15 gold CS on the Braum, which is coming through his relic shield, so that is of course extra gold for them.
Yeah. So the top and bot lanes are pretty equal at the moment, although the mid lane is still LeBlanc going above and beyond Galio. Although, to some extent, this is what we'd expect from a lane bully LeBlanc against Galio.
This is a melee AP champion against a ranged pokey AP champion. So the LeBlanc most definitely has the advantage in the early game here, which is what we were expecting.
Yeah. And the Elise and Jarvan are pretty evenly matched, with both having 100% kill participation. Yes. The action follows them completely.
Goon is now waiting in this bot side bush for a very long time, hoping to pick up a gank. I'm not sure if the enemy Elise has picked up on
noticed him, but is in the area to deal with it.
Yes, just
if he does attempt.
They'll perhaps expect.
Will he see the pink? He will not see the pink.
This Jarvan again has come down mid for a gank, however, blue side has warded up well.
Yep. Jarvan walking through all the vision.
Here. And that is Equal Drags going down. This is all this vision that we mentioned just before.
Yes. Complete vision control, just gifting over a kill to Winchester.
So they walked straight through all of that when they really shouldn't have.
Yeah, walking through 4 wards. Winchester was aware at all times of what Southampton was doing there, and managed to collapse and pick up on it.
Yes. I'm Goon, I would have hoped by this point, would have had a sweeper to be able to sweep through this. He did walk straight through an area that you would expect to have been warded by the enemy.
Yeah. And he just walked over the pink ward and walked off it again.
Yes, was very cocky on his part, I think.
Well, he didn't spot the pink ward first time.
Yeah, that was a bit embarrassing.
Look, we see the best teams in the world walk over that bush without taking out wards.
That is true. It could have been worse. It's when you walk, like, 1 unit past a bush where you would have seen their ward.
Mm. But in general, that gone a bit more towards parity, although with the dragon taken, there wasn't any ability for Winchester to pick up an objective off the back of that kill.
Yes, and they didn't pick up... If this had been about, a minute later, they would have picked up this Drake. It is in fact a Cloud Drake, despite the overlay telling us that it's an Infernal Drake. But it is currently live.
Yep.
There's a lot of pings in this river around the Rift Herald. We think perhaps Southampton are eyeing it up. But blue side, Winchester are very much aware that they are around that area.
And once again, we see the Elise going for lane gank top. She's managed to get there unseen, although the Jarvan being there will likely fear of engaging, as the 2v2 there is quite equal.
Jax has backed off an awful lot, though, considering they're hoping to go for this.
Might be having some ping issues, or...
Yes. Or perhaps
oh no, he was...
that he'll push in.
No, he's hoping the spectators cannot see his CSing this game. And just informing us that we need to watch it.
There we go, that was the cocoon we were waiting for, and it was missed. The Quacken certainly spent a lot of time sitting in that bush hoping to get that gank, which did ultimately fail.
However, you know, I'd far prefer the junglers to be attempting and not succeeding with ganks than cosplaying Master Yi and sitting in jungle for the rest of the game.
Yes, because casting that would be boring. It is worth pointing out, though, that I'm Vanilla did just use Cho'Gath's R on a minion, whereas we've now got I Am Goon taking down the Rift Herald. And this would have been a perfect place for the Cho'Gath to use his ultimate. So this is perhaps miscommunication, or not thinking far enough ahead.
The I Am Goon managed to successfully escape the Jax's teleport, burning that cooldown. Although maybe the Elise gets a cocoon here.
And this is a solo kill almost from the Elise. However, Shippage does pick up that kill.
And does the LeBlanc pick up a counter? Not quite.
Although there is now the rest of the team, I think, and perhaps Equal Drags is waiting for the chain. Not so sure does get that kill onto the Galio, though. And that's a TP coming in from I'm Vanilla. Hoping to catch one of them out with a Rupture. And Equal Drags picks up that kill onto the Quacken. They're now collapsing down for
slow and stuck around just a little bit too long.
Yeah, now collapsing down for this turret dive.
Though they cannot
Equal
now
Drags
get...
misses the chain, but that was just too much damage. And of course this was their tanking at the turret, which is exactly what they want.
Yep.
Outside though has responded with first turret, so they do get that extra bit of gold.
Yes, it looks like objectives will be traded here with Blue managing to cross map, although everything going wrong in the top lane, they do at least pick up an objective bot to keep the gold reasonably even.
And they've gifted that gold over to I'm Vanilla, I think hoping that this will help him fight off the Jax a bit better.
I feel the Cho'Gath has been holding up pretty nicely against the Jax, as much as they have been Lot and Jax choosing when to trade. Cho'Gath can lose the trade a little bit and then just catch it all back up by killing a minion.
Largely, we've seen the junglers not really care much about bot lane. Although I'm Goon is currently here, trying to get the kill. There's an interesting smite just there.
It was a little early, but they also knew there wasn't anyone else around.
That's a kill, gift though to I'm Goon. I think that was perhaps a bit overkill with the ultimate there. Or perhaps they were just hoping to gift it over to him, hoping that he'll carry the game.
The Rift Herald almost won't get a chance to kill this turret for them.
Yes, it was perhaps a bit too much, but of course they couldn't guarantee that they were going to get that.
Better too much than too little.
Yes. Oh, and that's
now they've got a full engage with the Jarvan catching the Jing.
Whackers escapes with her life. That's the Rift Herald going down.
And it looks like Southampton may be trying to pull off this siege now.
Yes. Well, they've got the damage down on his turret. That damage is going to stay there. So they'll be happy with this. It looks like Xayah and Braum are going to head bot lane to pick up this wave that's coming in.
Yep.
And they're leaving this vision here.
Yes. But overall, Southampton's done a nice job here of picking up the gold and having a nice couple of team fights and objectives in the past minute. We see the objectives only just started being picked up with 3 turrets in the past 2 minutes and a dragon. And 2 of these turrets falling in Southampton's favour. Although the LeBlanc takes an aggressive jump in, and if they'd layered siege, almost certainly would have been picked up.
Winchester Omega now is trying to pressure in for another turret. However, they pull back, seeing that Southampton has brought in the rest of their team.
Although the Xayah is actually still sitting in base. They might have been able to get a bit of pressure there themselves.
Although Equal Drags does get that wonderful solo kill onto Ask for More.
Yes. If you're backing, you need to back together.
Perhaps now they'll have that extra bit of pressure to push in mid, but it looks like the rest of Winchester is going to stay around.
Although Jack's pushing top is going to create a bit of pressure elsewhere. The Cho'Gath rotating up a little bit to answer that.
You can see him now, he's pulling him off from the team. This is exactly what they want. They've got this Cho'Gath, this massive team fight champion that they do not want to face. So this Jax is always going to be in side lane, always pulling him away.
Although from the other side, they've got this Jax who's going to be, you know, just taking towers if you leave him alone for anything more than a minute.
Oh yeah, well it's exactly the tactic they want. You can see Winchester now, Southampton hoping for this catch. Equal Drags does land the snare and picks up the kill. They're now hopping over these walls. There's a flash out from Sippage with a beautiful ultimate from the Braum and a chain from Equal Drags, and they pick up the kill, again gifting that over to the LeBlanc.
Is it gifting, or is LeBlanc just taking what she wants this game?
Who knows?
Because she is taking heads right now.
Yes, she is a monster, especially since LeBlanc's strength isn't in the early game. It is picking off those champions with insane damage in the late game. So it'll be interesting to see how she does there.
And apart from the Galio, there's not many on the team who can really try and survive her. Elise is normally quite a squishy jungler to come out. And the Jax gets tankiness from building damage, or at least that's what my solo queue teaches me.
Health from this Triforce. He currently has 1600 health.
Oh, and we see the Galio
lock up on Angoon, and he goes down.
Yes, the turret not quite taken there at any point.
Fortunately, Ask for More's rocket misses, and Equal Dragon is hoping for a turnaround, gets a kill onto the Quacken.
Wonderful job there by the LeBlanc, picking up a commiseration kill to make sure that Winchester can likely not out-pressure them, even with the nice little skirmish victory around the turret.
Yes, despite that, giving up those 2 kills right at the start whilst getting first blood, Equal Drags has really gone away with this game, it seems.
Turns out the normal laning pressure was more representative than what happened in the gank.
Yes, agreed. Now, even though, again, the overlay is saying that it will be an Infernal Drake, it is in fact a Mountain Drake that will be coming up next. So it'll be interesting to see if any of the teams want to fight over this.
Well, I always feel that Mountain Drake is a win more Drake. If you're ahead and taking objectives, it allows you to take them faster. If you can't get near the objectives, unlucky.
With their 4,000 gold lead, though, I fully
The Thresh has been just caught here.
to want to go for that. Yes.
And just picked up with really no chance for him to react.
No, not at all. I think at this point, Southampton are so far ahead that they can just put down so much damage.
Wonderful stun there by Jax, though. Catches all three of the people there.
Despite that,
and then picking up the Xayah.
If I'm mistaken. I am.
The little blocks coming in to clear up.
And this is probably going to be the kill. But a stun from the Jax only halts the inevitable. And we see Equal Drags hoping to chase down Jax. But decides against it when
Equal Drags trying to chase down as many kills as he can, hitting onto Thresh there.
It's worth noting that despite that team fight, Equal Drags still has almost full health. We now see I'm Goon going onto this Drake.
Whilst the rest of the team picks up an inhibitor tower. Southampton taking everything on the map here right now.
Yes, they're just so far ahead, and they are spiralling this lead. They do not want to be in a position where this
Although,
Jinx and Galleon...
Braum gets very, very low here. Although a tactical bait really from Braum.
Yep, it seems like the Quacken was just baited in, and clearly that's what it all was from Dragon King.
I'm waiting for the not even close.
Yes, that would be BM, I think.
And another bait from Little Blanc there, backing and then...
The Justice Punch taunt, though, from the Galio was beautiful there. Unfortunately,
yes.
It still gets out.
Yes. If she had been looking like the rest of us would be at shop at that point, she would most definitely be dead by now.
And that's why we're casting in their play. Here we see Drags going back. Just gonna see if I have a hotkey to show the gold.
It should be X.
Is it X?
Yes.
Oh. There we go. We currently see that LeBlanc still has 800 gold after having just bought. And she is currently 3,300 gold ahead of her lane opponent.
And we see in the jungle, although Elise had the very nice start. Oh no. Team fight going on here. And a stun onto Galio. And their fate looks...
is right behind, looking to put down some damage.
And they look to go for more. Trying to catch up with Jinx as much as they can. LeBlanc catching onto Jax. Oh, my voice.
Jax again, though, bringing in these stuns. And some of his stuns this game have been
wonderful really rocket from Jinx, clattering onto Jarvan and picking him up.
However, that will not be enough to protect the inhibitor.
Winchester sacrificing the inhibitor to actually keep their team alive so they can at least defend the rest of the base. That may take a small miracle now for them to come back into this game. The Cho'Gath just going to face tank the turret while he and LeBlanc plan to take it out.
They just want this extra gold, a bit of gold on the way out. You can see in their inventories this LeBlanc currently has 1,500. And the rest of the team, this Xayah has 2,000. They are all looking to kind of go back and get a couple items.
A complete catch onto Thresh seals him.
Yes, again, his position.
And once again, the Galio being caught.
That's that Braum shield protecting, though, from the Jinx rockets, as we were discussing earlier. Assuming my mic was on at the time.
I don't think it was. Jax still not having caught this turret is a worry for Winchester, although he was almost given enough time there to pick it up in the Jax bonk sounds.
Yes, I think Jax was perhaps predicting that that Southampton would now be looking at this Baron and was hoping to get a bit of pressure top.
Which absolutely should be. And his sitting in the bush gave him like the potential to effectively flank the team if they did go onto the Baron.
I think at this point, though, Winchester really isn't looking to team fight. They're looking to try to delay as much as possible to get to this late game.
Though both sides are almost sitting in complete darkness with very few wards around this Baron.
Yes, you can see that Winchester had absolutely no vision there and the collapse onto by Southampton.
Yeah, although he had such complete control of the vision early game.
Yes, you can see again though, this Jarvan pick is really working for Imgoon, constantly getting the engages onto Winchester.
Nice escape by the Galleon.
I was wondering to see if the Cho'Gath would get his rupture there to interrupt.
Silence might have worked. But now those 2 kills hand over Baron to Southampton University.
This is Cho'Gath teleporting bot lane to go pick up that wave, which has taken a significant amount of damage from the minions, down to less than 50%.
Yes. I mean, Southampton's got enough lead right now that they can play it very by the numbers. Just push in one lane, push in another, make sure they try and get all 3 inhibitors down, and then go for the final death push.
Yeah, they know they're at this point, they're not in a point where they're rushing, so they can afford just to pick up the gold in the towers either side.
What they need to do now is not throw.
Yes, well, at over 9,000 gold up, I think they might struggle to do that, but then we have seen teams do worse.
Well, I mean, it's not that Winchester doesn't have the tools here potentially to make that comeback happen. If Southampton's all grouped on each other, you know, the wombo combo from Winchester is powerful enough to just burn through everything.
Yes, but do they currently have the health to tank up Southampton's damage? And
well, the hope is if you wombo combo enough, they're just stunned the whole time.
But again, though, it's a case of can you put down the damage and kill them before that CC runs out?
Just make sure that you never have LeBlanc and Xayah standing next to each other.
We currently have I'm Vanilla carrying the Baron-empowered minions into the enemy base. And as hoped, he's
whilst
now
the rest of the team's looking to pick up this top inhibitor.
That worked absolutely wonderfully for them. And they may yet get this. If not, they'll be waiting for another wave.
Another wave about 10 seconds out. About the same amount of time as the Dragon's off. Though I feel they're going to probably stick around and try and get the inhibitor turret as a more important, although not easier prize.
And I expect after this they'll probably rotate bottom, go get this huge wave that's plowing into the turret.
Yeah.
And pick up the break.
The Galio punching in.
It looked like Jinx wanted to go get that, but then was pulled off, knowing that her team might lose a team fight without her.
We're slowly seeing just the life crushed out of Winchester as Southampton plays a very by-the-numbers textbook closing out the game example. Although, Jarvan gets picked up here.
Yep. This was the Quackers almost going down again, but escapes. That bot lane tower has gone down though, but this could be the turnaround for Winchester if they get some good kills.
Yes, though this Cho'Gath has nothing but tank items and is refusing as much as he can to die.
Yes, that's another kill for Cho'Gath. And another one, and now he's got his eyes on this Thresh. However, the Quacken might be able to put down sufficient damage.
Yes, it's going to look like an ace for Winchester. And they can enjoy their reward of trying to clear their base of minions.
However, that is now all 3 inhibitor turrets down for Winchester Omega. And the minions did pick up that inhibitor bot lane.
Yes, only just. Even after the team fight, they just managed to pick up that inhibitor, which is going to lock Winchester in their base, possibly even until the next Baron.
You can see pings, though, from SU Clap Crew onto the Dragon. They definitely want this extra Mountain Drake, give them that extra bit of damage onto the final Nexus turrets.
And of course, if they end up going into the very late game, it makes their Elder Dragons that much stronger.
Yes, well, that's
true damage. True damage burn is nothing to forget.
And now that's only 6 minutes away, and that might yet be their win condition. Baron should be up shortly before the Infernal Drake. My correction, Elder Drake.
And Southampton using the plant well to pick up on where Winchester's vision is at the moment, although they have not done a huge job clearing it. This Jarvan walking in and very likely going to die here.
I'm doing several occasions actually has been picked or gone in far too deep.
Although the Brahm's trying to pick up something off the back of this.
Yes, I think at this
that ultimate not quite catching the team.
SU, though, is very aware that they do have the advantage here. They have the extra stats, and they do have the 2 super waves.
Though they can't afford to keep sending in people 1v4.
Yes.
Because eventually they'll run out.
They have both seen this Jack top lane, so they might use this to try and pressure in that mid inhibitor.
Though that Jax is doing his job. He is pushing in the waves, he is creating a distraction, and it's almost forcing Southampton to disperse here.
Yeah.
While their waves are on the way off.
At this point, Winchester are more than happy to have Jax picking up turrets, even if it means potentially losing an inhibitor, because that's what's going to get them gold, and that's what's going to catch them up and let Jinx and Galio become these huge late game threats.
Yes. Though I do probably feel here that he should have been pushing in. With Southampton having committed to taking the inhibitor, he could have just picked up that tower and given his team a little bit more gold. Though now Jarvan's here, seems a little less likely.
Yes, and if Jarvan
though he's committing fully to this tower.
Yes, but as soon as this stun comes in, he's going to start tanking, and Jarvan may lock him in with an ultimate.
The Cho'Gath, everyone's rotating up here to get him.
Oh, and the ultimate from Cho'Gath, he does nom down onto the Swag Lord 15.
What a wonderful name.
Yes. Certainly not swagging much this game.
Oh no, if you look at his farm advantage, he's managing to stay, you know, relevant and almost actually equaling gold with the Cho'Gath.
Well, that is a Jax for you. That is that split lane farm like crazy.
Yes. Though LeBlanc is now creating her pressure, looking for her picks as ever.
The LeBlanc is currently sitting at 3 items. Won't be long until she's got that 4th. Looks like she could be going for Rabadons at this point.
So you say Rabadons?
What did you say, Rabadons?
Yes. Is that it? Oh no. Can't have this kind of conflict.
Sure now.
But Southampton is grouping up around the Baron, preparing for that.
Yeah, this is
We're sending Cho'Gath up to make sure that he can get his feasts.
Yes, they really want this triple super wave Baron empowered threat to come in, and then they can just walk into the base and pretty much do whatever they like.
I mean, they walk in and instantaneously Winchester has to engage on them and beat them, or it's all
because without
all over.
that, the minions will just press down those turrets.
Yes, all those champions. I mean, it's like super minions may be slow to hit, but they do quite hurt when they're hitting you.
And if they've got these long drawn-out team fights that we have seen so far, that is going to do an awful lot of damage to some of the squishies on Winchester Omega.
Though the inhibitors respawning gives them a reprieve from that kind of threat.
Yes.
But yes, the super minions do have 421 attack damage.
This does seem to be, though, Southampton's final push, or at least that's what they're hoping, because they have just all gone back, all bought up.
I mean, some of them even got their elixirs going.
Yes, this is their 3-wave of Baron supers that they were hoping for now, and they're
to some extent,
spot.
If you can't win with this, you just can't win.
Yes, and that is the thing, though. If Winchester Omega does survive through this, we do start to see a real threat of this Jinx.
And that Brown got very low.
Yes, and there's a rocket coming in from Ask for More, which misses everyone.
And a lovely engage there by Galio.
Yes. That was that Xayah escape, though, that we were discussing earlier. Yeah. Safe champion because...
And Jarvan keeping their backline occupied, although dying to them.
Oh, and that was a crit from
Cho'Gath, though, is a complete monster. Yes, refusing to die whatsoever.
This is now just the Quacken on Elise left, and this will be the game for...
This will be the game going over.
Yes, this is the game for FU Clap.
Clap crew.
And almost getting the commiseration kill onto equal drags, but not quite.
And we see a nice little teleport from Cho'Gath to finish off the game.
It's absolutely fantastic win over to Southampton. We were very impartial towards them the whole game.
Oh yeah, not even slightly.
Yes. We're going to take a brief break now as the next teams all get set up. So we will see you soon. Thank you very much for watching.
Cool.